Knowing that we have still a number of constituents that have been with us since this afternoon, we're going to move into the small food, or the food bills, and we're going to lay out two bills at the same time. Oh yeah, you're going to have to do that. I'm going to have to pass the gavel to Vice Chair Nasha. And I would say that those that are here to testify, your witness affirmation form has to indicate that you're testifying on both bills or just one bill, and you'll have to say that when the Vice Chair calls you.
Chair lays out House Bill 1139 under tab 9 in your binders. There's a committee substitute. Chair Truitt offers up a committee substitute to House Bill 1139. The chair recognizes Representative Rodriguez to explain the bill.
Thank you, Chairman Neistat. There's a substitute, I think it was laid out. Currently, individuals are prohibited by the state to sell goods produced in private home kitchens. In order to sell any sort of home-produced baked good or food item, kitchens must meet the same regulations as a full-scale restaurant. The process to comply with state regulations can be cost-prohibitive to individuals who do not have the financial resources and who are just starting a business. This is restricting entrepreneurship and limiting small businesses in Texas. Home-baked food production is a tradition in Texas. Many people are still baking at home, selling their products, but are doing so illegally. And many do not even know it is illegal. Overregulation has put an end to this tradition. House Bill 1139 has substituted lessens government regulation by allowing Texans to sell certain goods produced in their own homes. Home production would be limited to baked goods, canned jams and jellies, among other items. These are all products that are considered non-hazardous, meaning those foods are those that are less likely to support the rapid and progressive growth of microorganisms. More than 20 states have already enacted such legislation. This bill requires producers to take a food safety course from a program certified by the state, also known as a food handler's course. The Department of State Health Services may conduct an inspection once a complaint has been received. That's the other part of this bill. This bill also requires each product to be labeled properly with information of the food producer, the ingredients, and a statement making it very clear that the product was produced in a kitchen that is not inspected by health authorities to ensure that the customers are aware about the product. All transactions must take place directly producer to consumer. Third-party or internet sales are prohibited in this bill. This bill would actually make it easier for religious and nonprofit groups to have fundraisers with baked sales of baked goods and other cottage food products. In the substitute, some of the differences here, the substitute deletes language requiring a cottage food producer to obtain a permit from the Department of State Health Services. The substitute requires every individual engaged in processing, preparing, packaging, or handling cottage food products to have taken a food safety education course. This bill gives individuals a chance to start a business from their homes, as most businesses start. During these hard economic times, I think it allows families and individuals to have a little extra income as well. The growth of the cottage food movement and cottage food industry across the nation demonstrates how consumers are seeking locally produced foods from people they know and who they trust and who they can hold accountable. And ultimately, members, I think the cottage food producers can increase local economies by keeping money in the communities. And with that, I will reserve the right to close or answer any questions you all may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Representative?
Was there, had this bill been before the legislature?
It was last session it came up, and maybe before that, I don't recall.
And
Representative Gaddis, I think, filed something
is
similar.
this identical to that bill?
It's a bit different. I can't tell you exactly how it's different, but I know that there are some differences.
So, what was the fate of the last one?
I don't know. Did I have calendars? Yeah, maybe. With the what now? Oh, I got you. Oh, the milk.
Thank you.
So with your support,
I think last session it was the cupcake bill. This year it's the cookie bill.
it Yeah, I think all of you may have listened.
Small business,
There you go. I think all of you got some cookies in your office or something.
Yeah.
So. And they're very good. I had one. Yeah.
Well, I just would say I'm a joint author with Eddie on his bill, and it is a small business bill.
Yeah, I agree. More of a small business thing. I'll just say this real quick. I know Kenny late, but in this case, there's a lot of us that, right, of course, as do I. There's the farm to market kind of movement going on. It's really big in Austin. I had a roundtable discussion with some of these producers. They basically just get foods from within 150 or more, maybe a little bit more mile radius from where the restaurants are, and they try to increase local economies. And this is one of the ideas they have. They mentioned the bill from last session that Representative Gaddis got it, and they wanted to encourage me to do this. With that, I'll reserve my right.
Any other questions? No? Thank you. Next, the chair lays out House Bill 2084, it's in tab 14. There is a committee substitute. Chairman Coleman offers up a committee substitute to House Bill 2084. The chair recognizes Chairwoman Colthorst to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay. And I'll do it. I want to thank Eddie for bringing this bill back. We went through a very lengthy hearing last session, and there were a lot of discussions. The discovery of that people that bake cakes and other jams and other products in their home, and that it really was illegal, was really sobering to most of us. And so I looked at it at the interim, and I call this kind of a food freedom bill, is what I've kind of termed this. And so I'm going to go at it in a similar way, but a little different way than what Representative Rodriguez does. So the committee substitute, I pared it way down. I had a pretty big fiscal note on the first one, so we pared it down. So I'm going to kind of go, I'm going to go at it, and I'll read you some of the points. So Committee Substitute House Bill 2084 seeks to create a better regulatory environment for local small food businesses while increasing awareness and use by individuals of locally grown foods and products. Specifically, Committee Substitute House Bill 2084 has 2 parts to accomplish this goal. The bill allows for the legal production and direct sale of cottage food products under $50,000 in gross sales. And that number can be modified, but we've been working on that number for a while. This will be a great benefit for our citizens during these hard economic times to provide income for their families and low-risk food products for their communities. All of us know people that have businesses like this that do a lot of products at night and in their homes on the weekends. The bill allows for complaints to be filed at a local health department or the Department of State Health Services, and the recording of the complaints will be kept. The bill assumes that small business owners will act in good faith and consumers are smart enough to decide which of these products to buy. In other words, we haven't had some kind of outbreak even when it wasn't legal, and I think that these are really good actors. So I really kind of went from the tact of somebody doesn't have to go in and inspect your kitchen all the time. It's more of a you're going to have a clean kitchen and you're going to do the right things because you want to sell your product. The bill requires also, and this is the part that I had to really strip out to get the fiscal note to nothing, but we talked to the Speaker's office and he's more than willing to do this in the interim. The bill requires the legislature to study a variety of small food and local farm regulations. Specifically, the bill charges the Speaker to require the appropriate legislative committee to study the regulatory structure for small dairy producers. The bill also requires a study of how to expand the use of SNAP benefits at farmers markets. And finally, the legislature will be required to look at the emerging problem of agriculture exemptions for urban farms and community gardens. In conclusion, the goal of this bill is to help local economies and small business owners while also improving access to nutritious fruits and vegetables. My staff has also worked with the Speaker's office on the interim study required in the bill, and at this time the study is consistent with the Speaker's policy on economic development and nutrition. I know that Eddie said this, at least 20 other states have existing cottage food laws, and at least 11 states are currently considering or have recently considered these laws. I have a long list of what other states are doing, But in short, I think that according to the Texas Cottage food law, states generally report very few, if any, complaints or incidences of foodborne illnesses originating from non-potentially hazardous foods prepared in residential kitchens. Hopefully, passing these bills will provide a much-needed shot in the arm for local economies that, we're suffering from pretty high unemployment during this recession. And ultimately, this will promote the production and sale of state-made food products and will be a boost to all of our small, medium-sized farms, local farm markets, and entrepreneurs throughout the state. With that, I reserve the right to close.
Are there any questions for Chair Copeland? We will now hear testimony. Nikki Cook, please tell us your name, who you represent, which bill you are testifying, and your position. Is Mickey here? Mickey Cook? Talia Alvarado had to leave and go back to Seminole, but she left a letter about, well, she don't know. Everyone else has. She ran out of it. So. Okay. Joaquin Avila. Joaquin still here? Tom Hensley. Tom Hensley. All of these witnesses signed in favor of the bill. Suzanne Monroe Santos. Ms. Monroe Santos, in favor of the bill.